You were raised to be polite, to ask, to wait for signs, to double-check that she's comfortable. And while that seems considerate, the result is often the opposite of what you want. Because women don't give themselves to the man who waits. For permission, they yield to the one who creates the moment. She doesn't want to be persuaded. She wants to be guided. She craves a man whose presence draws her in, like gravity. Not forceful, not pleading, just inevitable. Once you realize this, you'll stop asking. She'll give freely, with urgency, with hunger, with surrender. This isn't some manipulative trick. It's a deep psychological truth. And once you unlock it, you'll understand what real power feels like. First, understand this. Intimacy isn't requested, it's evoked. The second you ask, you hand away your power. Not because desiring her is wrong, but because needing her approval to express that desire makes her body shut down. Even if emotionally she was open. Here's the truth nobody told you. Never ask a woman for intimacy. Instead, create a space where her walls dissolve on their own. This isn't manipulation, it's emotional mastery. It's about making her feel so secure, so seen, so effortlessly claimed that her body says yes before her lips do. You want to touch her. Don't begin with your hands. Begin with your energy. Begin with the silent pull between you, the unspoken current. Because women don't respond to direct questions, they respond to what they feel. The man who understands this doesn't use words as requests. He uses them as magnetic invitations laced with risk. He says things like, "Let's not rush. I want to feel if your vibe syncs with mine." Or, "I notice how you look at me when you think I'm not watching." See the shift. He's not pleading. He's building heat. He's creating a moment where intimacy already exists in the air. Silent, seductive, and all that's left is for her to step into it. This is the foundation of seductive psychology. You don't ask with your voice. You speak with your presence. You lead her into a decision she's already made deep inside. Want to know what it looks like. You hold eye contact just a little longer than usual. You lower your voice, not to be sexy, but to slow time. You touch her with purpose. One hand, not two. You lean away, not in. Because the man in control doesn't chase, he draws her in. Every move says, "I'm not here for permission. I'm here for connection." If she feels secure, she leans in. If she doesn't, she pulls back. Either way, you never begged. You simply led. And here's the powerful part. When you aren't shaken by her no, her maybe turns into fascination, because now you're not someone who needs her to choose you. You're someone who naturally inspires her yes. And that's when she starts to feel like giving herself to you was her decision all along. That's not trickery, that's Stoic seduction. And it works because it honors her instincts. Remember, the key is letting her believe it was her idea. You want her to crave you, then stop trying to persuade her. Start becoming the kind of man who understands this one core truth. Women don't yield to pressure. They surrender to freedom, and they only surrender to the man who makes that. Surrender feel like their own choice. You don't move in because you got a green light. You move in because the energy between you is already soaked in yes. She wants to feel like desire overtook her, like she crossed the line, not you. Why? Because when it feels like her choice, there's no guilt, no second guessing. No emotional armor, just pure release. Freedom, that's the doorway to her deepest, rawest self. Here's how most men mess it up. They build rapport, flatter her, show interest. Then ask, "Can I kiss you? Or do you want to come over?" The moment they do, they trigger her logic. Now she has to assess, weigh consequences, rationalize. But women don't enter intimacy through reason. They fall when their emotions outrun their thoughts, when they find themselves drawn in without explanation, when your words make her forget time, when your silence makes her tremble in ways she secretly longs for. The man who gets this doesn't push, he pulls without pulling. He notices how her body reacts, how her breath changes. He reads her silence, not to fix it, but to flow with it. He doesn't say, "I want you." He says, "You look beautiful when you're hiding something." And now she's spinning, wondering, what does he see in me that I haven't shown? That's the flip. You didn't touch her skin, you touched her pride, her identity. And women ache for that kind of exposure, because it's rare, and rarity is irresistible. When she feels like she initiated, even subtly, that moment stays with her. She replays it, relives it, because it gave her a feeling of power and abandon at the same time. That's the sweet spot. So how do you speak? You slow it down. You leave pauses. You don't finish every thought. You plant questions she answers in her head. You let silence buzz between you like static. Don't say, "Come over." Say, "I was going to spend the night alone, unless something changes." Don't say, "I want you." Say, "You're hard to ignore." Drop hints, not commands. Let her follow the breadcrumbs, not because she should, but because she can't help herself. That's why real intimacy rarely comes from asking directly. It's born from suggestion, from emotional gravity. If she's unsure, she pauses. But if she's intrigued, she moves. Your goal isn't to earn a yes. Your goal is to make her feel like saying no would haunt her. That's the feeling that sticks. That's the moment she won't forget. You gave her a taste of control and wrapped it in the thrill of surrender. That's not manipulation. That's seductive presence at its peak. And the men who understand this never ask. They simply set the stage and let her cross the threshold. When you lead the energy, she gives you everything. There's a reason she ignored your compliment. A reason she dodged your hint. It wasn't that she didn't want more. It's that you put her in charge of the moment, and she didn't feel safe taking the lead. This is crucial. A woman only opens when she feels like the frame is already being held. If she senses doubt, hesitation, overthinking, her body says no, because deep down she knows he wants me, but he doesn't know how to lead me. And if you can't lead emotionally, she'll never trust you physically. Here's what most men miss. Women aren't waiting to be allowed to surrender. They're waiting for a man who knows what to do once they do. The man who moves with purpose, who speaks calmly, who sets the rhythm like a conductor does music. He doesn't need her to act first. He creates a tempo that makes her next move feel obvious, not because he pushed her, but because he made it feel safe to let go. And safe doesn't mean soft, it means certain. He's not sitting there thinking, should I kiss her? He's attuned. And when the moment's ripe, he doesn't ask. He leans in, slow, composed, grounded, and lets her body answer for her, because she doesn't need a verbal check-in. She needs to feel that you're already certain. When you lead the energy, she relaxes. She stops analyzing, stops guarding, stops pretending. And that's when her true feminine essence floods in. That's when she gets wet for no reason. When she reaches for you without thinking. Because your energy told her, you're safe here, I've got you. And here's the real secret. Most women have never felt that. A man fully grounded, calm, immovable, unattached to outcome. Most men rush, most apologize for wanting. They act confident until she steps back. Then, like clockwork, they collapse into boys nervous, needy, trying to fix it. That's when she disconnects. But the Stoic man, he's different. He's silent where others speak. He listens deeply. He becomes the structure to contain her chaos. And that is what she's truly craving, because her feminine energy is wild. It wants to spiral, to burst, to flood, but only in the presence of something strong enough to hold it. So if you want real intimacy, not just access to her body, but her essence, then stop rushing. Lead instead. Slow it all down. Speak less. Let your gaze speak more. Let your breath shape the mood. Let your touch guide, not grab. She'll feel it. She'll feel you, and then the shift happens. She leans closer. Her laugh softens. She touches you more. Her rhythm begins to mirror yours. And when the moment arrives, she gives you everything, not out of pressure, but out of trust. Because in that moment, she didn't feel like a performer. She felt chosen, and that, more than pleasure, is what women are starving for. Relief from control, from calculation, from having to lead. The man who gives her that he doesn't ask, "Is this okay?" He lets his presence say, "It's all yours," when you're ready. And when she is, she won't hesitate. She won't guard herself. And she will never forget. Because true intimacy isn't requested, it's created. And the man who creates it, he lives in her memory forever.